Welcome back to Welcome back to Orange Hat Reviews. I think I just started it a little too early, that intro. But yeah. Um we are talking Underworld Blood Wars. We're still waiting for Mads. I see we have Happy Dino in the chat. Thank you for joining. I also noticed I have a new subscriber, not Ryan Johnson, it says, literally. So thank you for subscribing. Um Let me check a couple things. Go to my studio. But yeah, we are going to be talking Underworld Blood Wars, the final concluding chapter to the Underworld series, as far as we know. Because they did say, or venture into interests into other ones and possibly even reboots, and it's like, meh.
No.
This one had a good, solid ending to it, and this movie was not as good as the others. To be 100% honest, folks, this movie was weird.
Yeah. This movie broke a lot of rules. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, so let me get my talking points up here. So, yes, recap and running is the first part that we're going to talk about. Basically, Selena does the recap, kind of botches the story up a little bit, saying how, or kind of taking things out of chronological order.
Yeah.
But then you see her running or another new moon in thousands of new. It's like 1,000 years of new moons. It's like, wait, so here's something we didn't realize. This movie takes place 400 years after Underworld Awakening, but the we're going to get into how that is weird because, well, yeah, there's either Underworld Awakening took place like 100 years or something after Evolution or something, because there's just a lot to unpack because they don't really offer a solid timeline. But all I
No.
know is that or in the beginning of the Underworld series, Selene is 600 years old. And
Right.
in the end of the Underworld series, she is 1,000 years old.
Right.
So it's like, there must have been a humongous time jump after Evolution. So,
Yep.
yeah. Night Sand, good to see you. Thank you for dropping in. And we are waiting for Mads, but we are also going to get into it. She is not feeling well. Neither is 24/7 Fusion. And I hope that they both feel better. I mean, it sucks that they are not feeling well. And if
Right.
they can't make it, that is okay. I would rather they take the time to rest and recuperate instead of being or putting themselves in discomfort just to come on here. Now, if they
Right.
want to, I will not object unless they are absolutely like raggedly dying, which I don't think would do that for me because, well, let's face it, I am not that important. I am
Oh,
not the
come
second
on.
coming.
Don't send yourself short.
Dude, I'm selling myself short of the second coming, so yeah, I'm purposefully doing that. But yeah, so she's she's on a motorcycle, driving away from, or running from some lichens, I'm guessing, because she's black, or she's saying she's hunted by both vampires and werewolves.
Right.
And that is really loud. Let me turn down my thing for a second. There we go. Because I did just turn it up. Alrighty. So yeah, she pulls into like a bridge underpass or whatever, and she's like, "Just leave me alone." Well, I can't do that. So that she just lets him spear her. This is Selene has lost her daughter, or so she says. She has emancipated herself from her daughter, and her daughter wants nothing to do with her. She's still looking for Michael. because, well, she is obsessively in love with with Michael.
Right.
And you know what? That's just a true love because, well, he loves her too.
Right.
And so she's just totally sick of this stuff. She is basically 1,000 years old, so she's, well, as old as most elders in this thing,
Right.
or pretty much getting up there, you know. But so these lichens then spear her through the arms, and then just start beating on her, and she's just taking it. And then she opens her eyes, and her eyes are glowing blue, meaning she's about to go Corvinus on these guys, or on their asses, with her enhanced strength and whatnot.
Right.
Because we all know that when she goes Corvinus, as I call it, there's more of a glow in her eyes, more of like an icy blue, but also a glowing blue, not like the contact lenses that they have otherwise.
Right.
And when she opened her eyes, I'm like, she's barely. Oh, she's gonna kick their asses, and she actually does. She starts fighting back. She's like, "Fuck this," and then Theo James comes in from Underworld Awakening. David, the guy that she saved by cutting a hole in his chest, or slicing the thing in her hand and just pumping his heart a little bit, giving him a hand job, heart wise.
One way to put it.
Yeah, the old Corvinus hand job, I'll call it. Yes, folks, I am evil. Also, do not forget to bite the like button like a lichen, as the banner is clearly stating. Also, feel free to like, comment, share. I really appreciate all the support I have been getting. I am currently at 618 subscribers and 1,707 watch hours, so that's pretty cool. It's called a heart job. There you go. There you go. Happy. Good job, man.
Yeah, good one.
Yeah. And so, yeah. She's just getting. What did you think of this opening scene?
I was kind of confused because like how you brought up when she was saying about 1,000 new moons and stuff, I was like, well, wait, how far along are we on the story from the last movie? So I was still trying to process that, and then this stuff started happening. I'm like, is this just like a rehash of like everything we've been, going through? Is this like, does this take place, earlier? I was still trying to process all that, but also too, I was kind of like, at first this kind of disappointed. I'm like, well, she wouldn't just scream like "leave me alone." She would just kick their asses first things first, and it's kind of like a change in character. It
really is.
That's just how I felt, and I was like, well, that doesn't. So, quick question: was the scriptwriter the same scriptwriter for the other ones, or was this a completely different person?
I honestly have no clue. I'm gonna actually look up Underworld 4 and 5 scriptwriter right now.
Yeah, because we'll get into it later, but there's a lot of things that just really weren't consistent with the rest of the series, and like that opening thing, instead of just her kicking their ass, when she said, leave me alone and stuff like that, it's like, well, that doesn't sound like her character.
Mm-hmm.
So right there,
Underworld Awakening screenwriters. Underworld Awakening screenwriters Len Wiseman, J. Michael Straczynski, Allison Burnett, and John Haviland.
Okay.
So, well, Len, of course, would be, because he was the director of the first two.
Right.
Underworld 5 script, or Underworld, well, okay, you're not, or how about this then? Because you're not going to tell me this way. Blood Wars. Underworld Blood War screenwriters Corey Goodman and Kyle Ward. They were
Oh,
different.
yeah. Okay. Then now I see. Okay. I was going to say because yeah, this one felt kind of disconnected from the others. But yeah, that's how I felt about the opening scene. Um, just kind of out of character and just kind of took me out of the moment, to be honest with you.
It really does. I mean, it's kind of it is a disconnect, really. And then Theo James comes in, and it's like, okay, finally some more, or the fresh face is back. And then he gets popped with a kind of like drill bullet, which was interesting. And I just love this. They want to know where, or she's like, I'm through with this war. Yeah, well, it's not through with you. The Lycans are back. They're more organized. They got a new leader. She's like, oh, Jesus, I've heard all this stupid shit before, basically. She's like, I don't know where my daughter is. I'm the last person they should ask. I don't know, nor do I want to know. And after he gets shot with that drill bullet, which is also a tracker, she goes right up. She's like, or shoots, or she's like, not, or nod, or grunt, if you can understand me. He's like, and I'm like, dude, she said grunt, not like, or not grunt like a fucking caveman.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And he's like, or so she tells him to deliver Marius a message. And he's like, he will find you. So she just blows his freaking toes off. And it's like, yeah. Do you understand your message? Oh. And so he's just limping off. That's I mean, Selene, she knows when to kill and when not to kill. Let's just say that.
Right.
So then we get to the Last Coven, where Charles Dance's character is back, Sir Thomas, and Varga, the majordomo of Samira, and also her fucking boy toy. Quite literally,
yes,
fuck toy as well. But yeah. Hey there, Price is Right. Now, because it's just the two of us, if you guys want to come into the chat, let me know, and I will send a link. So if you guys actually want to come on and discuss it, as we have been, I will let a couple of people come on in.
Yeah.
Because we are also waiting for Mads.
Yeah, exactly.
And
more rare.
Thanks, just got off work. Price is Right. Do you want to come on if you know the movie?
I like what Happy said.
Say what?
What Happy said. The series suffers from what I call drunk continuality. It doesn't matter if it doesn't fit canonically. Focus on the bullets, bombs, babes, and blood.
Good point. Very good point.
Yep.
Vampire King, we must commit werewolf genocide at all costs. Well, there's that's actually another twist that the Awakening and Blood Wars did. They took the Lycans, who were actually the good guys in the original trilogy.
Yes.
And they turned them into the villains.
Yep. Another thing. Nope. Didn't like it.
And Selene was fighting against the vampires because she realized, well, they're kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So David, Theo James's character, takes her to a safe house. And while he's tending to her, or, well, she's tending to him, rather, Sir Charles Dance, her father, is playing politics with the vampires. Samira, I cannot remember the actress who plays her, but she completely plays Thomas. She, by also admitting that she absolutely hates Selene. She killed their kind. How you doing, Soul Assassin? I see it just now. And she was Victor's regent, so I'm guessing that means side piece or something. I don't know.
Right.
You know what? I'm gonna look that up. I'm actually gonna live, folks. I'm looking up words because I would love to know the meaning of them.
I think regent means like lieutenant or somebody.
Regent, a person appointed to administer a country because the monarch is a minor or is absent or incapacitated, a member of a governing body of a university or academic institution, and whatnot. Not this particular film, but I've seen up to Rise of the Lycans. Okay, well, if you've seen the movie, you can come on so we can discuss it.
Oh, thanks.
That is kind of a stipulation. So if you want, or if you haven't seen this one, I don't know much about this series. Alrighty, happy. But yeah. Anywho, so she's talking with Charles, saying that she's willing to convince the council to try to offer Selene amnesty so she can train the death dealers that they have and whatnot, and so that they can be strong against this new Marius, who is an extremely powerful Lycan, apparently, because that's just how it's coming across, you know?
Right.
There's never been a Marius, they keep on saying. And she is wearing the most sluttish outfits this whole freaking movie. But yeah. Samira is truly, he's like, Samira, you always have a plan. So you can continue this bullshit mise en scène, which whatever that means in French, I have no idea. Sir Charles Dance speaks a lot of languages.
Right.
I mean, I think he is literally fluent in like 13 languages.
Yeah, I heard I'm pretty sure he's like a linguist.
He's a polylinguist, yeah. The old vampires I don't want to quickly see die are Diobrando and Bela Lugosi. Brackware. Yeah, good point. So then he's like, or she's like, I need you to convince the council to. He's like, they all signed her death warrant, including you, so she's not going to come back. And she's like, we're not all, or we can be forgiving in certain circumstances. If we keep on losing like we have, we're going to be dead in 5 years. So so she's chatting up, and he's like, she is more powerful, or Selene might be the purest of us all. And so Samira takes this information. She absorbs a lot of information, and you also realize she'll absorb some other stuff too. But she baits Thomas, in my opinion, in this conversation. She's like, so it's true, her blood has elements of the Corvinus strain. And he's like, she is she brought my son back from the dead. She gave him her blood, and she's like, or her blood revived him, got his heart beating again. She's like, impossible. And he's like, I was there. So yeah, she's taking all of this in because, well, we all know that Samira, judging by all the stuff that we have learned in the conversations with her, or with Sir Charles Dance's character in this movie, she's going to use it. She's going to use this information.
Right.
So then they have the council meeting, and she convinces the others to, and one of them is a diehard stickler for the rules. And he's like, don't you dare mention her name. She killed her own kind and whatnot. It's like, she killed Victor, the man who turned her and whatnot. He's a stickler for the rules. That anything, or right. If you kill your own kind, that's a death sentence here in vampire politics.
Right.
And so Samira after Sir Thomas baits the council, Samira adds the irresistible bait, and this guy's not playing with her. He's actually he will actually he actually puts his own stipulation. If she sets foot in this coven, in this precious coven, Samira, you are responsible for her actions. So it's like, oh shit.
Yep.
And it's truly a beautiful bait and switch, really, because this guy's smart. This tells you that he's smart enough to cover his bases.
Right. Exactly.
So then they go to we get to from Last Coven to the Lycan Marius and the Horde of Lycans. They're all basically living in a ramshack area and have a lot of weapons and whatnot. And you see good insert shot from the back, and he's walking through, and he's talking to a couple of them. He's like, the other pack leaders are here, and he's like, probably fighting amongst themselves, no doubt. Don't worry, I'll take care of it. And so he walks in while one of them's starting to turn because they want to kick each other's ass, and he's like, are you a slave? No. Then stop acting like one. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this guy is old, or this tells me he is older than most of them. This tells me that he has a lot more insight and knowledge because, yeah, the Lycans were slaves, as we all know. So
yeah, he gives like a character kind of like Lucian.
Yeah, he is kind of like Lucian, just the darker aspects of Lucian, really.
Yeah.
He's one that's thoroughly invested in conquering and destroying vampires simply because they are the enemy, not because of, well, they killed my wife and my child. So,
Yeah.
so he's like, look at this map. He smacks off all the the UV round bullets. And he's like, what do you see? Trenia, Natgor, and going off all of these lovely names that I cannot even begin to pronounce correctly. Trenia, Narsgor, or something like that. There are Lycan victories, covens destroyed. And we have to launch against the Eastern, but we have to have the blood of the hybrid girl. So, which also I should say, previous in the Last Coven scenes, they were talking, or they did mention Eve, Selene's daughter,
Right.
and Charles is like, or Sir Thomas is like, unfortunately, she is half Lycan. It's like, no, she's only 25%, you dumbass. But they don't really focus on that. If you're a hybrid, everybody assumes you're 50-50.
Right.
Even though she is 75% vampire and 25% Lycan.
Right.
Although she would have the daylight immunity, I know that much because of the Lycan part in her.
Right.
And she's also a pureblood, so yeah. Now, so they're like, once we have the blood of the hybrid girl, we will be invincible and we'll launch against the Eastern. But until then, if we continue fighting amongst ourselves, we're not going to do shit. We will lose again and again and again. And then he gets news that his little lackey with no toes shows up. Or let me check this. I just saw my name. My sister is more into vampire lore than I am. I enjoy vampire flicks in terms of Dracula and the greatest vampire. So, question, does Underworld ever reference Dracula in some way? No, it does not. Price is Right. Dracula is not in the equation at all. He doesn't exist in this at all. Because the Underworld series, it's not mysticism, except for in this one. But
yeah, except this one.
The vampirism is derived from an actual virus as well as lycanthropy. So yes, I hope that does answer your question. I was told that Dracula is in the same world, but he stands apart from the Coven or the Coven doesn't mess with him. No, he's not in that. So yeah. But anyway, he's like, or She left you alive? Yeah, so I can give you a message. Well, let's hear it. She says not to come looking for her. She has no idea where her daughter is, and if you guys keep on coming after her, she'll just kill you. He's like, did you believe her? Did you believe her? He's like, yes. She let me live. I have no toes, and so, yeah, I think I would believe her. Well, Marius is like, well, we're still going to freaking hunt her down anyway, because I want to know for sure. So, now we're back to Selene and David. David. I'm sorry. I'm having a little bit of fun, folks. But yes. She's like, there's like a ton of safe houses closer than this one. Not anymore. They've all been destroyed. I told you, things are different now. And so she cuts into it. She's like, it's like a bullet, and it keeps on drilling faster than you can regenerate. So they pull it out, drop it off, and they have a little moment where he's like, we need your help. And she's like, I don't want to do it. No. And then they get an intruder alarm. And she's like, oh, fucking hell, man. I can't get away from these assholes. So then they're in the dark tunnel where one woman, or where Alexei has a gun, then Selene's behind her with a gun to her head. Then a death dealer's behind Selene with a gun to his head or her head. And then James is like, or has a gun to the guy, but who has a gun to Selene's head to his head. It's like, drop it, drop it, drop it, drop it. It's like, drop it. No, you drop it. No, you drop it. Yep. I'm like, oh my gosh, really? And so they're like, okay, who are you? My name's Alexis, and we need your help. The council has offered to bring you in for trial to train us. They all signed my death warrant. Why would I believe it? Times change. Vampires do not. I love that line. Times change. Vampires do not.
Yeah. So true.
So she's like, this is from your father, because she realizes she's not getting anywhere with this bitch. So she's like, this is from your father. He's like, or she's like, is it authentic? It's his seal and his handwriting. The council's offered you amnesty and are willing to offer you sanctuary, or offer a sanctuary. Okay, let's go. So yeah. So now, basically, they get there and introductions are made, and Samira is just drooling over David, really wanting to get it on with her, or get it on with him, and learn or also confirm her suspicions. So is it true that her blood brought you back to life? Because they're throwing a soiree and whatnot. Vampires, they got to have all their little vices. But yeah. He's like, yes, and I owe her, or I'm dedicated to her, and I owe her a lot. You could just see the wound in Samira's eyes. even though she keeps a fully stoic expression. So yeah, so then he's like, or he sees that his father's talking to somebody, so he's like, now my father's calling me, so I must go see him. And then she stops him. Thomas was always such a bore. Also, I should point out that in the previous discussions with Samira and Thomas, they talk about Amelia and how Thomas was fond of Amelia.
Ah.
So that does set up something later on. For those of you who do not know, Amelia is one of the three great elders of the original Vampire Covens. Marcus, Victor, and Amelia, the three elders. I wonder what a trailer park vampire story would be like. Probably not much of a story, because once the sun goes through, yeah, they're cooked. But anyway. So, yeah. She agrees to train the death dealers, and they have all of these lovely, cool virtual reality and gun toadies, and it's very interesting. She's like, then they get up to a little cage where they're fighting, and Varga is like, my own design or my own invention. And I'm like, dude, cages have been around for probably 1,000 years or more. But yeah, I get what you're trying to say. So they can learn to fight in close quarters and whatnot. And she's like, well, there's no way that they'll learn anything about predictability or unpredictability. And he's like, well, why don't we give them something to learn? See what we can do. And so he does the whole spiel. Selene will play the heroic vampire, and I will play the Lycan villain trying to destroy the coven. It's like, dude, this is not Cowboys and Indians. Shut the fuck up. I mean, he is just so condescending. He's talking to them like they're actual children.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yikes. Just yikes.
Well, hey, that's society for you.
Yeah. And so, yes. Hold on, I'm checking a bunch of things right now.
All right, that's fine.
And so, weirdness on Twitter right now. But anyway, so he's fighting her. She floors him. He floors her. Then they start fighting, and then they turn and start walking sideways, fighting on the rails. And he throws her, or she throws him into the rails again, and he pulls a knife, slices her hand. She pins him to the cage, and then she falls. And that's when you realize there's something wrong here. And you learn that he cuts her with Nightshade. Lethal to vampires, but with somebody as powerful as her, it would just be a lot of pain and agony. And she's like, I'll kill you. But she's also in a lot of pain. She's moaning. And one of the other death dealers is going to get in to help her. Hold on. 1 second.
Bless you.
Thank you. Yeah. I could not mute that, folks. I'm sorry. Megazord Jeremy, thank you for coming in, Maddie. Kate Beckinsale is hot. Enough said. You're absolutely right, man. Mm-hmm. And so, every time you review a movie with Kate Beckinsale, I'm going to keep saying she's hot. Yeah. Well, if you caught my brief review from yesterday.
Should do anyway. Van Helsing.
Yep. I'll have to do that one too eventually. But I could blindly review that because I have it stuck in my head so much. I could literally blind review that movie.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so then Samira comes in and she's like, did you honestly believe I would forgive you for killing Victor? I don't need you to train death dealers. I have Varga for that. So this is where it's come in. She wanted Selene there to kill her and to take her blood. And she's like, Varga, you have orders. And Varga hesitates. She's like, Varga? And you can tell this is not something Varga wants to do. Because before that scene, Samira is talking about how Marius is out there plotting to kill us all. And Varga goes in, cuddles her, and he's like, we don't need her. I could easily take him out. And I think that she's like, don't think, Varga, you'll hurt yourself. She's very misandric.
Right.
And she then puts him on his knees, and while she's like, all the pieces are falling into place, and then she starts moaning and saying, oh yeah, because he's eating her out and whatnot. So it's like, okay, that is like the most boring supposedly erotic scene ever, but yeah. Didn't even get a nudge. But anyway. So we then find out that Varga takes UV round bullets and starts shooting all of the Death Dealer cadets. And because of the UV rounds, they burst into daylight. There's only one problem, and this is I actually noticed this. The last one that gets shot, he only gets nicked in the arm, and yet he blows up.
Yeah.
From the inside of his chest. It's like, he only got shot in the arm and it only grazed him. How the fuck is he dying?
Yeah.
But then also, if you really pay attention to that one Death Dealer cadet, I'll tell you something later on. So he's like, or she's like, now we just need to take care of this and that. He's like, what about the bodies? Sound the alarm. Let the council find them. Or another act of treachery on behalf of Selene. So she's setting Selene up, basically.
Right.
And then the alarm goes off. David and his father are like, what's going on? They're locking down the mansion, yada, yada, yada. And the place where they were going is cordoned off. And it's like cordoned off on orders of Samira. David just gets right up in the guy's face. It's like, step aside. Going all blue-eyed and whatnot, thinking he's going to kick ass. And, oh my gosh, Megazord Jeremy. Kate Beckinsale, she play a hot vampire MILF in a vampire comedy one day. I was thinking American Pie with vampires. And Kate Beckinsale plays Stifler's mom, but a vampire.
Oh, jeez.
Gosh. Wow. Okay.
That was very descriptive. Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever floats your boat, buddy.
You should be a scriptwriter.
Yeah, he could be.
It doesn't take much anymore.
He's got the imagination.
Just remember, you have to be PC now, so,
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
I
guess that's all.
Or make her a LILF. Yeah, don't make her a MILF. Make her a LILF. LILF.
Yeah.
Lesbian I'd like to fuck. But anyway, so the council goes in, picks up her gun, ejects the UV round. A known traitor in our walls. I told you this would happen. These people's blood is on your hand. Hunt her down. I want her found. Or hunt her down to the ends of the earth. And Samira's like, it will be done. Samira, I want her alive. And you can tell that she's just like, oh, fuck, you just made my plan all the more harder. So David and his father, Thomas, is like, David, come on, because the guard looks at Thomas like, your son's about to get shot. And he's like, there's other ways around the castle. Amelia had these secret passages put in, and they connect to all the chambers, including Samira's. And it's like, dude, only somebody who has used those passages for liaisons, shall we say,
Yep.
would know about them. So they find Selene needled up and blood dripping, or blood being pumped out of her, and it's bloodletting, betrayal and bloodletting, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, be careful, look at this. He shows them how the needle opens the vein as wide as possible and to make it very excruciating. And so he's like, or if we're not careful, we'll do more harm to her than good. And you have to take her north, far north, Vardor. which is which is the last other coven. You guys will be safe there. And then Samira gets in. Father and son united in treason. And so Dave moves to go, and Charles Dance is like, no, leave them to me. And Samira's like, oh. So she jumps up and grabs a sword, and I'm like, God, I hope he cuts her lips off.
Yeah.
But yeah, unfortunately, it doesn't work. He fights Varga and Samira to a good standstill with the swords, but she pulls a knife and stabs him and then kills him. And then there's a dawn alert for 60 seconds. And David's like, well, what do I do? What do I do? Holy shit, I might burn up. Fuck, what do I do? And so she's like, go ahead. You can either burn to ash out there or die with some dignity in here. Well, David decides to jump out the window. And so she holds she also holds the barriers that stop the sun from getting in, so she could see him, because she wants to see him ash.
Right.
So he gets into the sunlight and he realizes, I'm not burning. What the hell's going on? Neither is she. Well, fuck it. I'm going to stay, or I'm going to start running, or we're going to get going. And this is where Samira's like, they can walk in the sun. And then you see the reflection off the car hit her, and you see the little bit of steam. I like that added touch there. It's like, but then she smiles because, well, there's a lot there's a lot of ambition in that woman's eyes and that smile.
Yeah.
Lots of biting and sucking with vampire sex, I bet. Yeah, Soul Assassin, that's usually how it goes. Vilf, vampire, I like the fuck. Vilf, 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 Vilf.
Vilf.
Soul Assassin. Dude, that one earns
Yeah, Rosario Dawson needs to be in it for diversity reasons. I agree with
Happy.
Happy.
You're not dying, buddy, but I do feel your pain. I feel it in my small toe. But yes, so they pull out of and crash through the gate of the coven to escape, David and Selene. And Selene is very weak still from the nightshade in her system. And David gives her some blood, and she takes in his memories, where they got to go, what the hell, or what happened to his father. She's like, thank you, and I'm sorry you just lost your father. And she then confesses that I've lost Eve. I didn't even want her. And now I've lost her forever. And he's like, why do you insist on saying you lost her? She made me promise never to find her and never to acknowledge that I had a daughter. And you learn that she is indeed a tragic figure now. She has lost so much. She's sick and tired of the world. And he's like, your family. I mean, I never knew my mother, but it's also strange to acknowledge that you lost somebody that you barely felt you knew or agreed with, because him and his father weren't always on the best of terms.
Right.
But it's like, you're all I got left. Well, then you really are in trouble. I love that little line. So the vampires are all getting ready to hunt her down once dawn and daybreak is done. And they get onto the train station. And you know that death dealer, that last cadet that turned into ash from getting his arm grazed by a UV round?
Uh-huh.
Well, he's out amongst the search team.
Oh.
And it's like, either you're a twin or you're a fucking ghost. Which is it? They don't explain.
Movie magic.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, they don't even explain this. How do you make that error? I mean, really, how do you make that error?
Who knows?
But yeah, so they see the train station, and Alexis goes to the train station, finds that they're going northbound, and then she leaves the area after and whatnot, and you see that she also ripped out the throats of the people working there. So yeah, she's definitely definitely one to be like, I love you, woman. I mean, it's like, yeah, I could get behind that. She's a vampire. And let me just wipe this one out. We're on her no longer treachery and Vardor. So yes, Selene is on the train with David, and they have to get out because, well, it would go further than they're supposed to go. I probably got a lot of scrape or got a lot of scraping, like, or it's probably got a lot of scrape and lick. I have no idea. Maybe, sure, okay. But yeah, it's got diversity with Rosario, politically correct lesbian vampire sex starring Kate Beckinsale. Oh my god, man!
That's great.
I've already seen trailers to a movie with Rosario Dawson seducing some married chick. But yeah, anyway. Back to the movie. What did you think of all the stuff that we've been discussing? Because I kind of just been going off on a real big tangent. What did you think of Charles Dance's character biting it?
Well, I kind of understand why, plot-wise, I guess, but I don't know. I thought that kind of scene would have been more towards the middle end of the movie, something like that.
Yeah. Which it kind of is in the middle, really.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it wasn't that long of a movie, but still. I was thinking a bit more, I don't know, revelation to it.
You're kind of going out audio-wise.
Oh, sorry. Hold on one second.
Yep. Oh, and I lost him. Folks, I lost him. Missed again. And Mads, I hope you're feeling better, sweetie, wherever you may be. And there he is.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can.
Okay, sorry about that. I'm using my phone, and if I get a phone call, it screws the audio up.
Oh.
On a live stream, because even after the phone call is done or like I don't answer it, it still screws it up because it's switching to the phone mic or something. It does something weird, but that's what happened. I got a phone call and I declined it, but it still screwed it up. So, but no, like I said, it is a shorter movie, but yeah, I don't know. I was thinking there would be a bit more revelation to something with his character,
Yeah. Well, it does that, or he was fond of Amelia, so then trekking through the snow, climbing up an ice shelf, David and Selene find their ways to Vardor. And this is where the mystical element comes in, folks. And
this
yes, Happy Dinosaur. Yes, throats need mayonnaise, like ketchup needs, or like mayo belongs on anything hot. No, it doesn't really. But yeah. Soul Assassin, I just caught your retweet, dude, and I absolutely love it. Shots, blood shots. Nice, man. Cheers, dude. But yeah. So then you see like a wisp of movement, and She's like, we're not here to hurt you. Come with me, fine, yada, yada, yada. And they're all blonde. Everybody there is blonde or white-haired. So I'm guessing they're inbred. Possibly.
I was thinking Nazi experiment, but okay.
Possibly that too. But also they are, I'm guessing that they're all, but judging by how everybody is walking around like almost kind of very scantily clad, but then they get to the leader of that coven, the bald guy who is bare ass naked in a pool, and he comes up, he's like, Selene the Death Dealer, do you truly come here in peace? Yes. This is David, who I have not seen in many, many years. Your mother often spoke of you. He's like, you knew my mother. My boy, everybody knew your mother. And when she died, it was a terrible blow for the coven. He's like, how would everybody know her? She was lowborn. She didn't matter to anybody. That was a falsehood to conceal your true heritage. And when she died, we all mourned for a month. And Selene picked up on this. She's like, something like that is usually reserved for a highborn or an elder. And he's like, yep. And she looks at Dave, and then she looks back at Baldy there. Amelia? And he confirms it. David is the son of Charles Dances Thomas and Amelia.
Right.
The hot chick from Underworld 1 and 2. And it's like, okay. Yeah. That works. Please explain further. What she does, he's like, the light in her eyes. And he's like, don't come up with some sort of freaking fallacy just to make me think better of my mother. I prefer the more realistic approach. She left me and my father to protect her precious coven. She's like, and he also shows David a sword that was made by his father, crafted or infused with steel. No lycans will cower before it's the very sight of it. It's like, oh, not, or maybe back in the medieval period, but not these lycans. But yeah. So so after David storms off, thinking that his mother just basically abandoned him and treated him like shit, Baldy gives Selene an orb, which has kind of like blood pack thingies in it and a ring. And so she goes out. He's like, I really want to be left alone right now. Yeah, I know the feeling. I just love that line. Kate Beckinsale delivered that line with perfection. Yeah, I know the feeling. You wouldn't leave me the fuck alone, so why should I leave you the fuck alone, you jackass? How you doing, Kamen Rider? It's so good to see you. So she's like, she did it to protect you, David. And she also did leave you this. So she shows him a ring. He's like, I really have no use for jewelry. The jewelry is not the gift. It contains the gift. A single drop of your mother's blood. Maybe it might help you decide. A lot of people raise a good question. Why is that blood still liquid?
Yeah,
After
true.
all these years, how is that blood still liquid and not congealed into a scab or whatever? Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe it's just vampire blood that does that. That refuses to coagulate or whatever.
Yeah, I don't. Who knows? Again, movie magic.
Yeah. And so then Selene's talking with the wispy, mystical movement girl. I forget her name, but she was hot. And how she's explaining the sacred world and how she's traveled there many times and how she can see things that no others can see. And she's like, what do you see when you look at me? I see that you loved the lichen, killed a vampire elder, and had a child. Stop! I'm done. And so mystical movement girl just wisps right in front of her. And she's like, I've seen that you have suffered greatly and whatnot. And so Selene takes her hands when offered, and she's like, tell me about this. Or she's like, what else do you see? Darkness. Many wars will be fought and lost over your daughter. It's like, the way that she said darkness, it's like, ooh, spooky omen.
Jeez.
And Selene basically drops the line, I have seen so much war, my heart couldn't bear anymore. This really tells you she has so much weight on her shoulders from all the killing, all of the fighting that she has done. It's starting to take a toll on her. You know?
Yeah. Well, that's like a line from the book Queen of the Damned. I don't know if you ever read that book series about Lestat, the vampire.
I read a little bit of Queen of the Damned.
Well, essentially, Lestat was saying that for every vampire, there comes a time in their life where they say that eternity is unbearable. So, and referring to that, he's referring to that. Yeah, he's kind of referring to that idea too, where all you see is death and destruction. It's like you never see, you're old enough to remember all these wars, and it's like nothing ever changes. So like to them, it's like what's the point?
Kill, drink, feast, fuck, rinse, and repeat.
Exactly. For 1,000 years.
Exactly. Spooky, hot, blonde vampire lady is named Lena. Thank you, Soul Assassin. Syllabdul Inc. Geekosity. Thank you for joining. Saw you in chat for Jade Shadow's channel the other day. Yes, I remember you were on her stream, and yeah, dude, I remember. I couldn't really watch that full stream as much as I would have liked to, because I was with family and I was playing with my nephew, who hadn't seen me in so long. So it was good to actually play with him a little bit.
Yeah,
have some fun with the kids while I was over there. But yeah, so while they're talking, David decides to drink in his mother's blood and understand or receive her memories, because vampires drinking blood, you get memories. If a werewolf bites a person, they transfer memories. From Underworld 1, you get that idea.
Right.
But anyway, so he sees that the birth, her father, Amelia, and she's like, one day you'll understand, I love you greatly. And then you see a single tear drop fall onto baby David's face, and he's crying as she has to go away. And then you flash back to reality, a single teardrop is coming down his face. Nice little touch.
Yeah.
And it is a touching moment, but it's interrupted by a lichen on the edge of the rock face that he was facing. And he's, oh, fuck. So he pulls his knife, throws, it's like, lichens, close the gates. And yeah, lichens show up to attack Vardor because Alexei, I should have pointed this out earlier, Alexei, the one that said that times change, basically, to give you all an idea. She went to the Lycan Horde, and Marius found her. They start making out, and yeah, you learn that those two are a thing. Also, Marius is pumping himself full of blood, and he's also getting basically a kind of like a fix off of somebody's blood. So it's like, because his eyes go amber like a wolf's, which is not usually the same as other lichens.
Right.
So it does make you wonder, it's like, okay, what are you shooting up, dude? So you'll understand this later, because this actually plays or becomes a plot point. So yeah, the lichens attack, and David decides to step up. And I love this talking point that I created Selene falls and David ascends, basically. So everybody's fighting, and Selene sees Marius, and Marius sees Selene. He gets brutal with her. He's like beating the shit out of her and throws her right through a damn wall.
Yep.
And he's like, "Where's your daughter?" "I don't know." "I don't believe you." "I don't want to kill her. I just need her blood. You have my word, she will not be harmed. All I want is her blood, Selene." And I'm like, and that's when Selene I just loved it. Was the creepiest moment of the damn movie. Her eyes go from dark to blue because her eyes are kind of very dark in the area. So then when her eyes just go glow blue, it's like she's about to kill him. So she tackles him off the edge. And as they're falling, he's transforming into a lichen. And so she lands and he starts getting up. She's thinking he was dead. And it's like, what the? And then he does something that no other lichen has done. His head, he stays in a lichen body, but his head kind of reverts to a human look.
Right.
And I'm like, or she's like, what are you? And this is when you learn that he is not like other lichens. I'm guessing it has something to do with that little cocktail he was shooting in himself.
Right.
And we've really been at this for an hour. Oh,
yeah.
Wow. Well, still got a ways to go. So,
yeah.
As they're fighting each other, and Selene's not winning this, Selene stands up, gets pushed onto some loose ice, and then a sword comes protruding right through Selene's chest. And it turns out Alexi is there. And she's like, just tell him where your daughter is so all of the slaughter and butchery can end. She's like, I don't know. And you hear, or Marius is now naked in the middle of the Arctic, not phased one bit, by the way. He's reverted back to his human form, and he's like, lies. And then he goes over to, or he nods over to her, and she uses her Gene Simmons tongue to lick the already frozen blood off the blade, and realizes that Eve only gives her a lock of hair and says, this is the only thing you will remember me by. I am not your daughter. You are not my mother. You never had a daughter. And she has a shocked look. It's like, she's telling the truth. She doesn't know. And so Marius just empties an entire pistol right into Selene. And she's like, my time is done. And then she remembers that the water is the path, as Lena told her. Ultra instinct Selene. We'll get there. Believe me, we'll get there. So, so then vampires don't clop, but that's just a theory, a dinosaur theory. Dude, that would be a great channel to have with all these Cobra Kai theory, Harry Potter theory, Star Wars theory.
Yeah.
Get a dinosaurs theory.
Yeah, dinosaur theory. Yeah. Dinosaurs
Anyway.
didn't.
Go ahead.
They went to...
Yeah. So she's like, the water's the path. So she says to herself, Michael, find Eve. And she gets under the ice. And you see her glowing eyes then revert back. And Marius yells out a huge roar, even though he's in human form. And that triggers all the lichens to leave and whatnot. And it's like, okay. And then he tells his vampire girlfriend, it's like, I need to strike against the Eastern. We are out of time. And so she's like, I'll go ahead and tell the news that Vardor's been destroyed and whatnot. So, yeah. Selene falls and David ascends, meaning he is accepting who he is, because he was very reluctant to believe the story of his status. And
Right.
so he's looking for Selene because, well, she was not found amongst the dead or the living. So somehow he looks down there and sees her in the ice. I'm guessing it's vampire vision. So they wrap her up like a mummy to send her to the sacred world, and David is about to leave, and he's like, I have to protect my people. I have to, or they're about to destroy the Eastern Coven, and I got to stop them. And because Baldy actually offered to have him stay there and live and be at peace and whatnot. It's like, no, I have to protect our people. So now vampires are the good guys, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so everybody, or Alexei gets back, and Samira was diluting the blood because of Selena's blood that she did get, and she had to wait for all the nightshade to get out of there, or out of the blood, to bleed out, so to speak,
Right.
or to dilute enough. And now she drinks it, and it was the most horrible looking effect ever, where you see all of her veins kind of just like blackening through and crawling around her body. And now she has Selene's blood in her, so she can, I guess, is now very powerful. And you also realize that she has ambitions to overthrow the Coven and rule. So, yeah. Now, Marius is back, and he's like, or the other pack leaders are saying, even if we get through the first gate, they'll trigger a shutdown and we won't ever be able to get through. And he picks up a little plan thing. And he's like, is this ready? Yeah, it is. We or we attack the Eastern at dawn. And it's like, okay, shit's getting real now. So, Samira then makes her play after Alexis comes back, and Alexis reports that the Coven has been destroyed in the north, Vardor. And she also, or before she went to report to Samira, she deactivated all the defense, or all the outside defenses for the Coven. So it's like, yeah, she just betrayed them all.
Right.
Snapped his neck, turned it all off, and whatnot. And then she's like, or she's talking to Samira, and she's like, I'm a trafficker in information, and I thank you very much for your service. Your Lycan lover will be happy to know that we're defenseless. What, you thought I wouldn't? You thought I didn't know? And she literally slits Samira, or Alexis's throat while she's talking to her. And Alexis is like, after all I've done, after all this, I'll fucking die. It's the look on her face that says that. She doesn't say it out loud, but it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm dying. Fuck. I thought I kept it under wraps. So, yeah. Samira goes to the council. She's like, we need to prepare for an assault. They're coming. They're going to wipe us out. And he's like, this coven has endured for 1,500 years. It'll endure for another 1,500 more. And she's like, okay, I've had enough of this shit. So she stages her coup, has guns drawn on all of the council members, and she's like, if you got, or you're all relieved, if you're not going to do what needs to be done, well, I guess I will have to. And that's when David comes in. Super Dave! And she's like, you got balls coming back here, man. And she's like, yeah, you're going to pay for your treachery first off. And so he announces himself, I am David, son of Amelia and rightful heir to the Coven. And she's like, Amelia had no son. Well, thankfully, she had the foresight to know that my claim would be challenged. He lifts up the orb that Selene gave her, and he passes all the blood to all the elders on the council. Well, not elders, but the council members.
Right.
And the one that was the most vocal is like, sniffs the blood. Amelia? It's like, dude, you could tell who it is just by sniffing it. You're weird. I'm starting to question whether or not you have a little bit of lichen in you.
Yeah, really.
But so they all drink, they all see the memories and whatnot. It is true. His claim is true. He is Amelia's heir. And so Samira's like, doesn't matter, Varga, your orders stand. Kill them all. Varga, I said, kill him. And Varga's like, no. Points a gun at Samira. And she's like, you swore to serve me. I swore to serve the leader of this coven. So I'm like, wow, awesome, cool, yeah. Right. And then they get the alarm going off that lichens are on the move, busting through the gates and whatnot. And he's like, take her to her chambers, lock her in, so she can receive judgment later. And she tries talking to Varga one more time. Varga, you could still be forgiven. Gag her as well. I love that. Gag her as well. I'm like, dude, awesome. That's just awesome. So then you see the lichens getting out with freaking riot shields and all sorts of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, these guys are actually organized.
Right.
Oh, interesting. So then the war or the coven or the assault on the last coven happens. And they're going at it. And then the lichens get a foothold in the coven, right? And then they bring in these big ass cannons that are just weird looking at first. But then I'm like, huh. So they end up getting them up the stairs a little bit. And they have UV rounds that can punch holes through walls. It's like, dude, why would you need UV rounds to punch through the walls? Why not just get metal rounds that would definitely do the job, you know? But hey, and it looks like G-Fan is stepping away for a second.
Oh, no, sorry. I went to the restroom.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
No, I already did. That's why I was on mute.
So, yeah, did I just hear a cat die?
No, that's my cat. She's disabled, so don't mind her.
Oh, because I thought I heard a step and a cat go,
no, that's just how she sounds, actually. She's
anyway. So yeah, they're blowing holes in walls, and the vampires are getting some sunlight or some much non-needed sunlight, little overpowered sunlight, burning them up to a crisp, and all seems lost for the vampires. Well, a sudden blur of movement, bunch of before that blur of movement, you see that, or Marius sees that David is not affected by the sunlight, so he shoots at David, and David and Marius shoot at each other, and they then start shooting each other, getting shot in the head and body and whatnot, and David just screams out, burping all those bullets out of his head and body, and then you see freaking Marius do the same thing, burping out all the silver bullets out of his head and body. And then they're still yelling at each other, and that's where Varga's like, oh, fuck this. He just tackles freaking Marius. It's like, dude, you're about to die. You're like really about to die. And Marius is about to kill him, but then he gets shoved away. And then you see the blur in this moment. And then you see a bunch of lichens getting their heads sliced and necks sliced, and then you see a woman slicing a lichen's head off. And then she comes into the light. It is Selene with white highlights in her hair. She's been to the sacred world, folks, so she can now use Ultra Instinct, as Happy Dino said. Lena, the hot vampire, looks like the hot mother of dragons. Yeah, she does kind of actually look like Targaryen. What's her name?
Yeah. Emil Clark.
Yeah, that one. Anyway, so they're all, all the Vardorians have somehow managed to move through sunlight and reinforce the coven. Can somebody explain to me how they managed to get through or go from Vaudel into Budapest and actually survive by trekking through sunlight?
Yeah.
I'm kind of confused.
Ugh.
And so then Marius gives out a shout. It's like, fuck it, everybody change, like right now. So his horde now starts going beast mode, and he sees Selene kind of beckoning him to follow, and he does. And while Samira was dragged to her room, she kills the two guys that were supposed to lock her in her room, and she grabs a sword, and Marius is looking for Selene and kicking ass with any vampire that gets in his way. And then you hear David scream out Marius, but then he has to fight Samira because Samira just has a real hard-on for David and didn't like the fact that he wouldn't give her any dick. But so yeah, it's like, okay, it's like, all right, David versus Samira juiced up on diluted Selena blood, and Selene versus Marius. So she leads Marius to the armory, where he busts through the armory when trying to hit her, but she zooms out of the way. And then she just starts unloading the entire armory into him. And I'm like, yeah, you're in her house now, bitch. I mean, that was a good moment. Then she actually shoots him in the face, and some of his blood gets on her mouth. And she gets a couple of his memories and sees Michael. And so she's like, what the fuck did I just see here? Why am I seeing him? And so she cuts him with a knife. And she's like, I need to know what the hell's going on. So she retreats back to the birdcage that was not invented by Varga. She locks herself into the birdcage and licks the knife with his blood on it and realizes the truth of what happened to Michael. Michael was thawed out from Underworld Awakening, but he was captured by the lichens. And he's like, no, wait, I'm one of you. And he then Marius shoots Michael, and then shoots all the other lichens around him, and then literally slits Michael's throat and puts his blood in, starts injecting himself with it. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So she realizes the truth. You killed Michael, and he pulls out the last vial of his blood. This is all that's left of him. And she literally gets on her knees, reaches out her hand, and he gets close and then pulls back. It's like, you honestly, and I'm thinking to myself, Selene, do you really think he's going to give you that last bit of blood?
Really?
So, like a true villain, he drinks it. And he starts changing into his beast human head mode. So Selene then is does something that, yeah, you guys just heard my phone. Sorry about that. Okay, Happy, you'll be back in a few seconds. So yeah, she needs a little bit more, one last final look at Michael. So she bites her own wrist and drinks her own blood.
Huh.
To remember the happy times, the sex, the child, her daughter, the happy times, you know?
Right.
And then Marius gets through the cage and starts beating on Selene. And so she keeps on, with every blow, she's remembering more. And then she's just like, oh, screw it. Gets out of the way and rips out his spine. I'm like, fatality.
Pretty
Selene
much.
wins. Flawless victory. I was just waiting for those words to just start blood dripping on the screen and everything, man. Literally, it was a Mortal Kombat moment.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that was a very touching scene because Selene this is the most vulnerable you ever see Selene.
Right.
In the entire series. She is the most vulnerable in this moment because she realizes the love of her life is now conclusively dead. And I'm getting messages, folks. Sorry. And so, yeah, she then takes it, or David's fighting Samira, and while they're fighting, Samira's body is pulsating with Selene's blood in her, and then you get the dawn alert, and David throws a blade at the stopper that Samira used to stop the things from going down, and it comes up, and she's like, oh shit. But then she's like, oh, it worked. She's now able to stand in the sunlight. But it's short-lived because David does the smart thing and puts the blade right through the back of her head through her mouth. It's like, yes, finally a smart move in a movie, folks.
Right.
And that's the end of Samira. That's the end of Marius. David then finds Selene with the remains of Marius, and David then comes out with Marius's head. Your leader is dead. Everybody's looking up at it, and take your wounded and leave. Some of the Lycans are looking up at him like, you're fucking gonna die. Leave! Okay, we're out. Fuck it, we're done. So they all leave, and the coven starts recuperating, and Selene's monologue begins again. As I said earlier, Selene falls and David ascends. Well, Selene ascends at this moment because the very vampires who wanted her dead have now accorded her the highest honor, which is to make her, or to give her elder status. And they give her some, I'm guessing, elder blood from a coffee machine looking thing. And she offers Lena, the mystical wispy vampire chick, seat at the elder table, and David's already an elder, so basically, yeah, back to 3 elders, and how her journey is a spiritual one, and how her eyes are open to the sacred world, and she's back in a Zen pose in Vardor. And then you see Eve walking up to her, and and then a super zoom in really quick at Selene's eyes, and I'm like, really? That's it?
Yeah.
An hour 30? That's it?
Yeah.
I want more. God damn it. But
yeah. It was a short movie.
yeah, it was a shorter one. So, objectively out of 10, what would you put this one at?
Objectively, altogether, I'd put it at a 7. Something like that. 7.
Objectively, without bias, I would put it around a 6, really, just under a pass, because they made a lot of mistakes in this movie. A dead person that's supposed to be dead, but still walking around. The CGI in this movie was a lot worse than the other movies.
Yeah,
and,
seemed like they had a smaller budget.
Yeah, I'm guessing they did. And it just didn't really feel like an Underworld movie. Now, subjectively, meaning with bias, out of 10, I would put it more at, I'm guessing like it. This one was more at a 7 or an 8. It wasn't as good, but there was some good elements to it. What would you do subjectively?
5.
With bias.
With bias, 5.
Wow,
5.
you went down. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, here's my reasoning for that. All right.
Mm-hmm.
They established, and from the very first movie, how they wanted it to have a scientific element when it talks about the virus, when it talks about, about Corvinus and all that. And then they go into this mysticism. That just killed it for me, because it feels like they didn't follow their own rules. And then the other thing was, like you said, the change in the way they portrayed the vampires and the Lycans. It's just, it kind of went against like what was trying to be established by the original plot, with Lucian. So, especially when you find out that they killed Michael in such a way too.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I was like, it just flew in the face of like stuff that was established. But then again, there is some part of me that understands, how you said this is like 400 years later. I mean, God only knows what happened between that time. They could have gotten more hostile, especially with the humans, hunting both of them down, I guess, in desperation. But still, by this point, I would have thought at this point, especially after Awakening, I would have thought that, there would have been some more reconciliation between the vampires and werewolves, saying, especially if it happened a lot sooner after Awakening, where they would be like, look, they're hunting both of our kinds. We need to like actually stick together. We need to put aside differences, because the humans now outnumber us and they're coming to kill all of us. Yeah, I thought that's where it would go.
It should have went there. It honestly should have. Yeah,
that's where I thought it would go, because that would make more sense for continuality, and then have that movie end where it's like, them saying that Lucian's will has been realized, vampires and werewolves actually can get along, especially with Eve, and especially with them, if Michael would still be back. It's like, finally there is some peace between the Lycans and the vampires, but now they have to stay in the underworld to, because of, human interference. So that's what I thought. So that's why I was very disappointed in this movie. Subjectively, I was very disappointed. Yeah.
Now, for my third tier moviegoer, where you're not breaking it down, you're basing it solely on entertainment value, what would it be for you?
Entertainment value, solely on entertainment value, it would still be about a 6 or a 7, mainly because of the shortness. It moves really quick in this movie.
Yeah. And that's another gripe I have. I would actually put it at a 7 or an 8, to be completely honest. I know these are different than my brief review, folks.
Right.
But this is now given a little bit more forethought into it, and that is where or why the scores would shift. As for Soul Assassin, wasn't there talk of remaking the Underworld franchise? I did hear about that, yes, but
Yeah.
honestly, nothing has come of it or come from it, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
know where they plan on doing or when, especially with COVID now. But
Yeah. It's
anyway, yeah.
It's a pot shot on that one. Now, I'd be interested in maybe a series. Maybe depends what they're focusing on. Are they going to focus on the same characters, or are they going to focus more on like the general war itself? You know.
I want to address this. The Oz, welcome. It's just Twilight aimed at boys. Changed my mind. It's not Twilight aimed at boys because there's no fucking sparkly vampires in this bitch.
Oh boy. Never gonna get past that. Never gonna get past that.
Yeah, I can understand how some people would actually think that because there have been parallels drawn. And
yeah,
but the thing is, Selene is a vampire.
Yeah.
And she falls in love with a human, not the other way around. So yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is, or maybe a series following the Eve story. That would actually be a good idea, Soul Assassin.
Yeah.
So this is where we're going to wrap it up on the Underworld discussions, folks. I'm sorry that Soul or Mads couldn't make it, and 24/7. They're feeling under the weather, and I truly hope that they do feel better.
Yeah, I hope they get better too.
This is the end of the series. So I would love to show you guys the new series, or to give you a tease, but I can't share with my Kindle right now. And you know what? I will actually try to pull up a picture of, let me make a tweet really quick. So yeah, folks, sorry for the pause. Stay tuned in 2 weeks as we have a panel discuss ... Get the picture up. It's not in download. Or yes, it is actually. June. There we go. And I'm going to schedule this for tonight, December 2020. Tonight's date is the 27th. Yes? Yes.
Yes.
And we'll put it at 11 o'clock because we're going to be off before 11. 11. There we go. PM. There we go. Now, confirm schedule and view. And now go
Oh,
to stream.
okay, not too bad.
What's going on?
Oh, Soul Assassin asked how I was.
Alrighty. Alrighty. Did I make sure that this is mute? The mic, turn the camera off. Enter the broadcast studio, but stay in the background. And now share the screen. Application window. Chrome tab. I hear that cat.
Yeah, sorry, she's in heat. She's in heat.
Oh, yeah. This is the newest one, folks. Here is the tease. First Blood. Rambo is going to be the new. What is this? Here's a dislike. Dude, Motaz Hayek, why are you disliking my stream, buddy?
Huh?
In the chat.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm just trying to figure out why.
But yes, this is going to be the next round of movie discussions and brief reviews. So yeah, if you guys want a spot on this panel, let me know. First come, first serve, or first offers go to the panel of the previous streams, which is the Underworld stream. So G-Fan,
Yeah,
slot.
already. Yep, already want to do it.
You do?
Oh yeah, I grew up with these movies.
You got all 5 of them?
Yep.
Alrighty. So I will definitely pencil you in for the stream, or for that. So yeah, folks, that is going to be the stream. I want to thank Mads. I want to thank G-Fan. I want to thank 24/7 Fusion. I want to thank Demogeny and everybody in the chat who has supported me and who has given me a reason to keep going on this channel. And I'm just very humbled right now. I'm at 618 subs. I did not expect to reach that many this year. And even though I didn't reach my end of the year watch time hours, I'm still grateful that people did make an attempt. Because my goal was 2,000. It's only at 1,707. But I am very thankful that people did make an attempt, and very thankful to everybody who has supported my channel. And before the Rambo discussions, I have it's the Trident, folks, subbed for the Trident. Yeah, I got Aquaman's Trident for those of you who are wondering what that means. But yes, my very first versus stream of season 2 is Rambo versus Commando, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character. And we're going to see how that goes. And then we're going to move on to the Rambo streams the following week. So anyway, folks, that is going to be the video. G-Fan, do you have anything going on, or?
Going on? What do you mean?
Content-wise.
Not. Well, see, I'm trying to get some panelists to review and discuss the Godzilla movies. So far, I think I got Mongo's big things. And I think you said if you got more information as far as timing goes, that'd be good. The thing is, see, I was trying to contact some of the other Godzilla streamers, but it's hard to contact them. A lot of them don't have a Twitter. They don't share their email. So it's like really hard to get a hold of these guys. And honestly, a lot of them are sporadic at best. So it's kind of hard. But it's going to be something after the new year. It depends if I get a job here. So it just depends. I'm still looking to do it, but it's kind of slow moving at this point because, in all honesty, if we were to do a stream on every movie, it would take a year to do.
Yeah, probably would.
Yeah, it would take a year to do. So if you're going to be in it, you might be in it for the long haul.
Yeah, and I haven't seen all of them by any stretch. I mean, my favorite ones are Godzilla vs. Destroyer, Godzilla vs. Mothra, the original Gojira, Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Godzilla versus Ghidorah.
Right.
The one with the Dorads. Those little evil things.
Yeah, the ones from the 90s. Yeah. Yeah, so like I said, that's still in the works. Still trying to see if there's any panelists because I did, make sure I told everybody if we're going to do every Godzilla movie, it's going to be a while. It's going to take a while. It's a long haul, which it's pretty ambitious. So what I might do is try to sectionalize it. But even then, that's kind of hard because you'd be talking about multiple movies, and Godzilla movies are kind of unique because they, with the exception of the Heisei series, there's not much continuity. So it can drive people. It can drive people nuts because, talking to especially Star Wars fans about continuity, that's very important. But for a Godzilla fan, it's like, that's not much meaning to us because Toho switches the origin like all the time. So it's kind of hard to do it in sections because even then it's just all over the place,
Yeah.
But
I just checked YouTube. Yeah. I just checked YouTube and I have 3 dislikes on the stream. I have 3 dislikes on the stream.
We got 1 dislike from that one guy, whoever that is, Hayek.
Yeah, Otaz Hayek.
Yeah, Tide Dangerville or Wikizilla. Yeah, I'm trying to find out how to contact those guys, Soul Assassin, but these guys are hard to get a hold of. A lot of them don't access their emails and stuff, and they're not on Twitter, which I don't blame them. But
Dangerville is, you just gotta hope to catch them in the comment section or something.
Yeah, whenever they actually post stuff. So we'll see. Like I said,
Twitter, man. Or even just go to one of their older tweets. They're very responsive. They've talked to me on occasions. Okay,
I'll try. I'll see what I can do. Because as I said, right now my main goal is my real life trying to find a job. So that's why this is going to be put on hiatus at the moment. So.
Completely understandable. There's a lot of tough times going on for people.
Yeah. But alrighty, but I was glad to be part of the stream and I can't wait to be part of the Rambo one.
Yep. And I will reach out to the other panelists to see if they want to join that one as well. So anyway, folks, that is going to wrap it up for the Underworld discussion streams. Thank you all for tuning in and watching. And truly a deep and very sincere thank you to those who have supported my channel. It's been a ride this year, folks. And this is my last stream for the year. So 2020 ends on a positive note, so to speak. Anyway, folks, that's going to be the run. Thank you all for tuning in. You all know the drill. Like, comment, subscribe, share, all that jazz. Make sure you bite that like button, like a liking, as the banner says. This has been, or if you catch the stream on a replay, let me know in the comment section down below. What did you think about this movie? Did you like it? Did you not? Anyway, folks, this has been Orange Hat Reviews and G-Fan.
Yep.
Hope you all have a good night and stay humble and have a happy new year.
Yep. Happy New Year, everyone.